Welcome to your race preview for round 2 of the FIA World Endurance Championship. Last time out in Qatar, Ferrari secured a historic 1-2-3 in Hypercar, and now we return to the incredible home of the prancing horse. This is the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, or Imola. Now on the circuit. My name's Rendell. I'm joined by our resident WEC expert, Sam Smith. And Sam, let's get into it. It's always a privilege to come here to Imola, particularly because of its history.
It's got a fantastic history in endurance racing, stretching back to the 60s. Obviously, the Tifosi are everywhere at this track. It's the home race of Ferrari. Beautiful circuit, undulations everywhere. We're at Piratella at the minute. The cars get light as they approach that corner, down to Acqua Minerale. Then you've got the two Rivazzas, you've got Variante Alta, all these great names of
You're enjoying saying those, aren't you?
Yeah, there's a little bit of the Italian coming out in me, I think. But you know, it's just a fabulous place to race. But I like to think of it as kind of like the street circuit in all but name, really, for WEC. It feels like there are barriers everywhere. It's so narrow. You put one wheel off and you're into the gravel. There's no track limits here. It's all about the edge of the actual curbs. And there's some big curbs here, particularly at Variante Alta as well, where they smash the curbs as they go down to Rivazza. Great challenge, and I think every driver enjoys being here, but what they don't enjoy is managing the traffic, which is a key to the race. You've got to get through the traffic ultra tight because the track is so narrow, and it's old school, but it's still a fantastic challenge for endurance cars to do their thing on.
That's a great point. And actually, one thing I did want to point out, whilst we're here, we never normally get the chance to do this because we're normally miles away in the pit lane, but I just wanted to show you, have you guys realised how deep it is here? That, as you were saying, Sam, you get stuck in this, You're not coming out. Well,
remember Dries Van Toor had a spin just about here in qualifying last year, and if you do end up in here, you're not coming out anytime soon, so you need to be dug out of that, Alexia.
Cheers, mate. I've got so many stones in my shoe. Right, I'm going to get these out my shoe and we're going to head down to the pit lane. Okay, it's maybe not quite the home of Ferrari, but this is certainly their backyard, certainly somewhere that matters to them. So many Ferrari drivers have earned their stripes here at Imola. And coming off the back of a very good weekend in Qatar, they must be feeling pretty positive about being here.
Yeah, absolutely. They scored maximum points, didn't they, in Qatar? Every single point they could have got, they got with the two factory cars and the AF Corsa, the yellow Ferrari 2. They've hit the ground running in this season for 2025. I think they were the favourites at Qatar. Everything sort of favoured them, but they still had to execute it. They did that brilliantly. Big expectation here at Imola, though. Not only is it their backyard and their playground, it's also the place where last year things went wrong for them. So there's kind of got to get that win. I think they're going to challenge for it, I'm sure. And I see them as really kicking on and having some momentum to really please all those Tifosi that are going to be out there on Sunday afternoon.
And then perhaps a little bit of redemption with rain possibly forecast for this weekend, and ultimately that was what undid them last year.
That'd be a great story, wouldn't it? I mean, mention laying that ghost to rest. That's what they've got to try and do. Yeah. They've got a good car. They've got continuity with their drivers. I thought Phil Hansen actually did a really good job at Qatar, who's the one new driver in the Ferrari squad. So, yeah, I think they'll be very confident that they can get that home victory at last.
And then let's talk about the LMGT3 cars for Ferrari. How was their weekend in Qatar and how are they set up for here?
Well, it was okay in Qatar. They got some points, didn't they, with the 21 car. I thought the Francois Heriot and the Simon Mann and Alessio Rivera car, which won at Bahrain last year, kicked on as well and started this season well. 54, Thomas Flohr, we know, fiercely competitive. He's won in Japan so many times. That's kind of his home race. But of course, for Ferrari and for the Vista AF core squad, it's really all about here and trying to get a victory for Ferrari in the GT3 class. They won in 2021 at Monza, but that's the only success that Ferrari have had in the WEC so far. So they're going to be really keen to get that GT3 victory. It would be the second one, of course, after Fuji last season.
Coming off the back of a victory here last year, and fun fact, they've won every second race of the WEC season since 2017. Let's talk Toyota, because actually, okay, it wasn't the result they wanted, but they were probably the second or third fastest car last time out.
Well, the one thing we know about Toyota is they're just solid. and they're very, very consistent. So all that knowledge they've gained over the years really is going to help them out this season, because I don't think they're going to have the quickest package or the best package. They're going to be using that knowledge, using that depth of understanding about how to win these races. They may not win races this year, they may just get a championship momentum through good consistent performances, and that's what we saw in Qatar, where they were pretty far off the Ferraris, but they were in that mix of BMW and Cadillac, and they actually made it. They made their race really by their consistent application in the pits and what they were doing on the circuit too. So, you know, they were winners here last year, weren't they, with the number 7 car? And you probably argue they weren't the quickest car here last year as well. They just got the job done and took their chances on the strategy when the inclement weather came. So that's where Toyota can be clever. And I expect them to have a big presence in this year's championship for all those attributes I've just mentioned.
And for LMGT3, let's go and have a look at last year's winners. And actually, it was a double podium here last year for BMW WRT. Things look a little bit different this year, don't they, Sam, though?
Yeah, the makeup of the team has changed quite a bit. New drivers in 31, and Kelvin van der Linde is in the 46, of course, with home favourite Vale Rossi. I think they've got a good chance of maybe retaining their crown here at Imola. Augusto Farfus drove superbly last season, giving that real experience they needed in those changeable conditions. So I think BMW have got a genuine chance of sort of continuing that podium streak. And look, if they get a 1-3 like they did last year, they're going to be a very happy team, aren't they?
I know we've already spoken about BMW, but given that 2 of the drivers that were in the winning car last year are now in the number 95 United Autosport, Sean Gelael and Darren Leung, I think they're looking in a pretty good spot to do the same here, no, Sam?
Well, they certainly are after Qatar.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic pole position by Sean Gelael. And then the 59 car did a superb job. You know, that 33, that rear guard action, Gregoire Saucy putting so much pressure on. Fantastic end to that race. And, you know, it looked at a few moments, didn't it, like he was going to
I thought he was going to get
through,
him.
he was going to do it. He just couldn't quite do it at the end. But, yeah, I mean, McLaren vastly improved from the early stages of last season. I think a lot of good development on this car. And I see a lot of real potential for them to get that first victory of the season soon.
And actually, a quick little any other business for McLaren. Had some news in them since we've been in Qatar.
Big news. Well, a hint at big news, but news nonetheless.
News nonetheless.
I mean, there wasn't a great deal of detail, but they will be coming to Hypercar in 2027, so that's something to really look forward to. You know, we're 30 years this year since McLaren won that unforgettable Le Mans in the wet with the Japanese car, and I think in terms of their heritage in racing, you couldn't wish for a bigger name to come to join the party with all the other manufacturers here. So yeah, bring it on.
Definitely one to be keeping tabs on. And we've been saying it time and time again, Sam, but surely another big result, a big win potentially, is brewing for BMW.
Yeah, they had a great Qatar actually, 4th place. I think they were disappointed with that as well.
Shows the progress they've made though.
It does indeed. You know, the car with Dries Van Toor, Raffaele Marciello and Kevin Magnussen had a really strong race. Just that problem with the limiter with K-Mag. But, you know, a win for them feels now like it's very achievable and is in touching distance. The 20 had a bit more of a troublesome race, but still good points for BMW. And I think this very unique and distinctive looking car is on the cusp of something quite big, and I expect them to join those big 3 from last year and make it at least a big 4, if not big 5 with Cadillac, of course.
I'm excited to see it. And whilst everybody is obviously always chasing points, Sam, there are a few, perhaps more than others, that need some. I'm immediately going to Cadillac.
Yeah, I mean, lots of promise, great pace that they had in Qatar. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Contact on the safety car between Jenson Button and Alex Lynn. I mean, the debrief would have been quite extensive on that one. Shouldn't happen, did. You kind of felt for both of them in some elements of that. It's happened. As long as it doesn't happen again, I think the team will just move on. Take a lot of the positives from this first race, remember. First race between Cadillac and Jota stitching together. And that's never an easy thing to do. So I think they could be super strong here. And I see them getting some really big points in the upcoming races.
Yeah, looking for a bit of that redemption arc. And there are so many manufacturers in the WEC now, we haven't got time to go through everybody. So, Porsche, Peugeot, Alpine, Aston Martin, sum it up in a sentence.
Not the whole lot, in a sentence.
Yeah, go on then, why not?
Well, Porsche, obviously extremely disappointing at Qatar. There were reasons for that, of course. They just didn't have the package on that day at their disposal. They will come back strongly. Peugeot, lots of promise there, lots of optimism, I think, for them. If they have a clean race, you know, they're at a good balance in terms of what they have package-wise here, and I think they could be quite good. Alpine, I think they would be the ones most disappointed about how their season started. Never got into the points or really looking like points contention despite having one lap pace. And I think Aston Martin, already one of the fans' favourites just for the pure audaciousness of that Valkyrie project and the way that it sounds. It's just about gathering data, it's just about getting experience. Had a really strong Sebring and Long Beach recently, so I think they'll be looking for more continuous improvements with that new package. And have we forgotten somebody, Alexa? I think that's it, isn't it?
I really hope that's everyone, otherwise you're going to let us know in the comment section and I apologise in advance. And then in LMGT3, I wanted to go with Lexus. I felt like they showed so much pace back in Qatar, but we had a conversation earlier, didn't we, Sam, about TF Sport and a little bit of a curse they seem to have here.
Yeah, they never quite seem to have luck, have they? I mean, they had that puncture in 2021 with Ben Keating, that spectacular flip for Chavez at the second chicane at Monza. Of course, we'll remember that incident. So they've got a little bit of something to
on their back.
Prove here in Italy. And what a great start to the season they had with Daniel Hunkadea's epic rearguard action, and I thought Johnny Edgar was fantastic for his WEC debut there as well. Fantastic to see, as you said, the Lexus doing a great job. Missing Ben Barnicoat this race. He had a shunt on his mountain bike, but I'm sure we all wish Ben getting well soon and being back to action. But Esteban Masson is in for him. I think they could be quick again. I mean, they've really picked up. And it's great to see that variety in GT3, and it just feels really open. It feels like really any of the manufacturers can do the business here at Imola.
Sam, well, you say any of the other manufacturers could. Ford, Aston Martin, Mercedes, Porsche. Sum them up in a sentence. Who do you think we could see doing well here?
Well, Ford, I think, have got a bit of work to do. That was evident at Qatar. But, you know, when they get things right, they're pretty quick. I think Aston Martin, they got some good points of the 27 car. Really impressed by Mattia Drudi on his WEC debut there, ex-Audi guy who's come in and sort of really making a name for himself on the world stage. Mercedes was really an extended test, wasn't it, in Qatar? So much to do. It was all very late for them. I think they'll just want to get some big data, some big running, learn and understand that car a bit more. Porsche, I feel, as one of the favourites for this race. They had a really tough Qatar, super experienced Ricard Leeds, Ricardo Pera and Ryan Hardwick, who's moved across from Proton Ford, of course. And I think that's just feels like a trio starting to gel quite nicely. So it's so open. I mean, LMGT3 is really open at the best of times. At Imola, it feels like any of those manufacturers can win it. Well,
as we're stood here at pit exit, I'm feeling it start to rain ever so slightly, Sam, so we'll do this quickly. But not only have I just put you on the spot enough with our one-sentence summaries, it's predictions time. One from each. Keep it quick so we can get dry, please.
Oh, deep breath, deep breath. Do you know what? I'm feeling like a major Porsche renaissance here. I think Porsche in both classes will come back extremely strongly. So I'm going to go LMGT3 first. I'm giving them the courtesy of going first. I think the Manthey First Form trio, as I mentioned just now, I think they'll be really strong. And I think it could be a bit of an old school battle between Porsche and the Ferraris in that category. In Hypercar, it's super tough. I think, like I said, Porsche are going to be quick. Ferrari are just going to be fighting tooth and nail to overturn that ghost from last season. But you know what? There's something about BMW and what they've got, either with the 15 or the 20. I'm going to slightly favour the 15 because they've just looked a little bit quicker. And, you know, knowing, as we both do, Dries Van Toor, he's so hungry for that first WEC win. So I'm going to go with the 15 BMW for the overall victory, and BMW's first in the WEC, which would be an epic story.
A bold prediction. I'm excited to see how this one plays out. Thank you so much, Sam, and thank you for joining us. We are going to be going racing for the 6 Hours of Imola this Sunday. There is so much to look forward to, so much anticipation right here in front of the home Italian crowd. Tifosi, we can't wait to see you. Bring on the race.